Hey everybody, it's Vivian. This is my first ever car live. This is a little dangerous because when I was a kid, my dad said, driving is a full-time job and you cannot be doing anything but driving when you drive. So a little fire pit, a little fire thing that I can put in the backyard. And you know, it's interesting because I'm going to be participating in a full moon meditation from a friend who's going to be doing it virtually from the United Kingdom. And so the timing is a little off, but would you believe that yesterday was the full moon? How uncurious. It's not that it's so curious that it was Earth Day. How uncurious. How amazingly coincidental that it was Earth Day yesterday and it's also a full moon. Because even people like farmers and people who plant things would use the phases of the moon and the cycles of the moon to inform them about what they needed to do with their plants, etc. So it's no coincidence that there was a full moon yesterday on Earth Day. And I also want to just talk about, and it's no coincidence, I mean, it's just like I said, sometimes my lives blend one into the other. It's no coincidence that I happen to mention women and menstruation yesterday, because oftentimes women talk about being in and along with the cycles of the moon. So being in and along with the cycles of the moon as well reminds me of things and people like Clarissa Pinkola Estes, who wrote the book Women Who Run with Wolves. And what do wolves do? They howl at the moon. That book is about the archetype of the wild woman, right? So wolves howl at the moon. Also reminds me of Christian Northrup. She is no longer in clinical practice, but she is a gynecological OB MD who's retired, and she does a lot of talks right now. She has a lot of interesting information on the internet right now called The Great Awakening. And she wrote a wonderful book called Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdom. And in that book, it should be like the Women's Bible. Every woman should own this book. In that book, she talks about the phases of the moon and moon cycles and how that aligns with women's bodies and the wisdom that we can gain from it. And one thing that I've always taken away from that is so interesting is that during the cycle, during women's cycle, that time, also the red tent, people have heard of that book as well, right? During that time, if women aren't kind of honing in and focusing and concentrating on creative efforts and doing things that really fulfill them, it is said, or it has been studied, that their menopause has been much more difficult. So ladies, we are given, some of us, most of us, are given an opportunity, not everybody, once a month to focus and use the creative moon cycle time to be creative and tap into artistic and energies that nurture us and give us a lot of fulfillment that way. So think about something that you'll do for the full moon tonight. Maybe it's just a moment of mindfulness. Maybe you will meditate a little bit. Maybe you'll pull out something that's creative or helpful to you. But we are in tune with the phases of the moon. Ask any surfer about the waves, okay? The moon has the pull, right? Isn't it the moon that has the pull on the waves and the effects of the moon and the tides and what happens? So the moon and full moon and new moons are pretty powerful. So tonight I'll be partaking in a full moon meditation. It's actually shamanic journeying. And the woman who leads it will be playing a frame drum. And the drumming is quite hypnotic and very really helps you kind of go deep and kind of allows for all the other sound and all the other nonsense that's between these two ears to kind of get out of the way. That's why sound is used during meditation as well. So happy full moon. Happy day after Earth Day. Hope I've made some connections for you about the full moon and hormones for women and time that you can be creative and how you can utilize this time to your benefit. All right, I'm rushing. I got to get back to my house in 15 minutes because we got to set up and I got to get a fire going. Oh, that's the whole point. I'm building a fire. And what a perfect day to have a fire because it's a little chilly and fire is another thing. I don't want to go on and on, but fire is another thing. You can kind of cleanse with fire and smoke as well. So what a great way to, you know, every time an earth is scorched, what happens? It regenerates. The ash helps that soil build new things, and everything always bursts through the surface. So a fire and burning anything, controlled of course, will always help for some kind of renewal. So a full moon or a new moon is a perfect opportunity to bring in the new and out with the old. So happy full moon and Earth Day smash up from yesterday, and I hope you guys have a great evening. And, you know, even if you want to put on like the faux fireplace like I did for the other broadcast on the television, you can do that. Burn some sage, maybe a little incense, pull something out that's special and makes you feel good, especially on this overcast day. All right, see you soon. Have a great day.